Have you ever wondered why we often become our own worst enemies? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? Well, welcome to the fascinating world of psychological traps. These are situations where our own thoughts, perceptions, and beliefs can lead us astray, causing us to make decisions that are not in our best interests. Imagine being stuck in a maze, but the walls are made of your own thoughts. That's what a mental trap feels like. There are numerous psychological traps that we unknowingly fall into. Confirmation bias, for instance, is when we only pay attention to information that confirms our preconceptions, while ignoring anything that challenges them. Then there's the sunk cost fallacy, which makes us stick with a decision because of the time or resources we've already invested in it, even when it's clear that it's not working out. Or the illusion of control, where we overestimate our ability to control unpredictable events. Stay tuned as we delve into real-life examples of these mind traps. Imagine this scenario. You believe that all politicians are corrupt, and every news story you read seems to confirm this belief. Welcome to the world of confirmation bias, a psychological trap that's as sneaky as it is powerful. It's a simple concept, really. Confirmation bias is our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs or values. It's like having a filter on reality, where we only let in the evidence that supports our views and dismiss anything that contradicts them. Now, let's revisit our scenario. If you believe all politicians are corrupt, you're more likely to notice and remember news stories about political scandals, while glossing over stories of politicians doing good. This selective attention and memory can create a distorted picture of reality, where your belief appears to be confirmed everywhere you look. But confirmation bias doesn't stop there. It can also influence our decisions. For instance, when voting in an election, you might dismiss a candidate based solely on their profession, without considering their unique qualities or proposals. In other words, confirmation bias can blind us to potentially beneficial options. Moreover, this bias can lead us to live in echo chambers, where we surround ourselves with people and media that share our views. This lack of diverse perspectives can further reinforce our beliefs, making it even harder to recognize and challenge our biases. It's a pervasive trap, affecting everything from our social interactions to our political and financial decisions. But why does it happen? Well, confirmation bias is a cognitive shortcut our brains use to save time and energy. It's easier to process information that fits neatly into our existing mental frameworks than to critically analyze and potentially revise our beliefs. However, ease doesn't always mean accuracy, and this is where the trap lies. As we favor certain information, we may overlook critical evidence, leading to skewed perceptions and decisions. As we can see, confirmation bias can easily distort our view of reality. But fear not, understanding this bias is the first step towards overcoming it. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the intriguing world of psychological traps. Think about a time when you stayed in a bad situation because you had already invested so much time, money, or effort into it. Now, let's dive into the world of the sunk cost fallacy. This psychological trap is an economic term that refers to a cost that has already been incurred and cannot be recovered. In our everyday lives, the sunk cost fallacy can manifest in various forms. It's that concert ticket you bought months ago, but on the day, you're feeling under the weather. Yet you still go because you don't want to waste the money spent. Or it could be sticking with a car that constantly breaks down because you've poured so much money into repairs. We all fall into the sunk cost fallacy trap from time to time. We continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources. This bias can lead us to make decisions that are not in our best interest. We stick around in relationships, jobs, or projects that no longer serve us, simply because we've already invested so much into them. But here's the thing. The resources we've invested, they're gone, they're sunk, and no amount of holding on will bring them back. Continually pouring time, money, or effort into a lost cause won't reverse the situation. It merely deepens the hole we're in. The sunk cost fallacy can keep us stuck in unproductive or harmful situations. It can blind us to better opportunities and possibilities that lie ahead. It can make us feel trapped and powerless. But remember, we're not. We always have a choice. Recognizing the sunk cost fallacy is the first step towards freeing ourselves from its grip. It's about acknowledging that our past investments shouldn't dictate our future actions. Instead, our decisions should be based on what's best for us moving forward. So the next time you find yourself clinging to something because of the time, money, or effort you've already put into it, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, am I falling into the sunk cost fallacy trap? The sunk cost fallacy can make it hard for us to let go and move forward. Picture yourself at a casino, convinced that you can beat the odds if you just play your cards right. You're on the edge of your seat, heart pounding as you place a bet. You're sure you've got this, that you can control the outcome of the game. What you're experiencing here is the illusion of control, a psychological trap that often leads us astray. The illusion of control is a mental quirk where we believe we have more influence over events than we actually do. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, "Go on, take a risk, you're in charge here." It's a compelling voice, but it's often wrong. You see, our brains are programmed to seek patterns and connections, even where none exist. That's why you might feel more confident throwing your own dice in a game of craps, or picking your own lottery numbers. You feel a sense of ownership, a sense of control. But the reality is, these events are entirely random. Your influence on the outcome is no greater than anyone else's. This illusion of control can lead to overconfidence, and overconfidence can lead to risky behavior. It's what drives people to bet their life savings on a horse race, or to dive into a business venture without doing proper research. It's what convinces you that you can juggle multiple tasks at once without dropping a single ball. But here's the catch. The illusion of control doesn't only lead to risks, it also blinds us to the role of chance in our lives. We forget that randomness plays a big part in our successes and failures. We don't acknowledge the uncontrollable variables that can affect the outcome of our actions. By understanding the illusion of control, we can start to see the world as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. We can make more informed decisions, take calculated risks, and appreciate the role of chance in our lives. The illusion of control can cause us to take unnecessary risks and ignore the role of chance in our lives. So the next time you find yourself at that metaphorical casino, remember this. You can play your cards right, but you can't control the deck. Now that we understand these mind traps, how can we avoid falling into them? This is the question that brings us to the fifth scene of our journey, overcoming psychological traps. Let's start with the first and perhaps the most crucial strategy, self-awareness. The journey to overcoming mind traps begins with recognizing that we are susceptible to them. It's about acknowledging our cognitive biases, our tendency to fall for the sunk cost fallacy, and our illusion of control. This self-awareness creates a conscious effort to spot these traps, paving the way for us to navigate around them. Next up, we have critical thinking. This is a skill that can be honed and refined over time. It involves questioning our assumptions, scrutinizing our decisions, and being open to the possibility that we might be wrong. In the context of psychological traps, critical thinking helps us to challenge our automatic responses and make more deliberate, considered choices. We can't talk about critical thinking without mentioning the importance of seeking out different perspectives. This strategy involves actively seeking out views that challenge our own, which can help us to see things in a new light. It's about stepping outside of our comfort zone, engaging with diverse opinions, and exploring alternative viewpoints. This can help us to break free from the confirmation bias trap, allowing us to see the bigger picture. But remember, overcoming psychological traps is not a one-time task. It's an ongoing process of learning, growing, and evolving. It's about being kind to ourselves when we fall into these traps and using these experiences as opportunities for growth. And finally, let's not forget that overcoming these traps isn't just about making better decisions. It's also about living more fulfilling lives. When we free ourselves from these psychological traps, we open up a world of possibilities. We become more adaptable, more resilient, and more open-minded. By recognizing and challenging these traps, we can make better decisions and live more fulfilling lives. So let's continue this journey of self-discovery and growth together. Let's learn, let's grow, and let's overcome these psychological traps. In today's journey, we've explored some common psychological traps and how they can affect our lives. We've delved into the depths of the confirmation bias trap, where our existing beliefs can blind us to opposing evidence, and seen how it can lead us down a path of distorted reality. We also ventured into the territory of the sunk cost fallacy trap, a deceptive pitfall where we feel compelled to continue with a decision, simply because of the time, energy, or resources we've already invested into it. Lastly, we face the illusion of control trap, a sly snare where we overestimate our influence over external events, often leading to unrealistic expectations and disappointment. These psychological traps can easily ensnare us, subtly affecting our decision-making and perception. But by understanding and recognizing them, we have the power to dodge their clutches. Remember, awareness is the first step to breaking free from these mind traps. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.